Hi guys, and welcome back to Pass the Move. And for today's episode, as promised, the derby game against Guimeras. As you guys know, we are the rivals to them, and they have climbed up to 7th spot, so it's very close now. Very important weekend actually, which is what we need to show you. So, as you can tell, we're in 6th place, but we do have the opportunity to climb up all the way into 4th, which is the Europa League spot, so we would be meeting expectations. And it wouldn't be the end of the world, of course. And we have some Europa League updates as well to give you. But yeah, the reason why it's such an important weekend is actually because Sporting... let me see if I can show you the matches this weekend. Alright, so Sporting drew their game, but more importantly, Porto lost their game against Ferreira as well. So that sets us up perfectly for if we win, we can climb up the table and really start to close that gap and get closer to breaking apart this, the big three Portuguese clubs that we spoke about in the beginning, the very first episode. So we're on 15 points. If we win, it's 18 points, which means we're just a point away from Sporting, and we can maybe do some damage later on when we do face them here in December. So very important game. Even if you forget the rivalry, it's still very important. But again, even more important because it is the rivalry, and we need to start putting behind us our indifferent form, really. So let's show you what happened since the last episode. So we did show you the cover game there in the Taca de Portugal 3rd round. Since then, very inconsistent, I would say. I mean, look, from when we first started off here, it's just some greens, some yellows, some reds, and it's kind of expected in the first season when they're still getting adjusted to the tactics and whatnot, adjusted to me as well. They're taking their time a little bit, but we'll get around, and hopefully that'll sort out as we kick on from around winter time. I would suppose they should be ready. But yeah, so there was the 1-1 draw against Vigo. We managed to score an equaliser in the 91st minute through a set piece. Rosic managing to score that. That was great for us. Managed to draw against Vigo, even though I thought we might actually manage to get away with the win at home. But instead, a draw was okay, and we seem to be doing well there in the Europa League. Against Moreirense, we managed to also get a draw away from home. Unfortunately, we couldn't manage to beat them. Just to give you an idea of where they are in the league. Again, disappointing how we perform against some of the so-called weaker teams in our league. But yeah, we did put that behind ourselves against Nacional de Madeira. So again, just to give you an idea, they're here, and we managed to beat them very convincingly, 4-0. Hassan, Santos, Eduardo also managing to get a brace. So just a very all-round convincing performance. Second half just blew them away in the second half, really. And I didn't tell you the scorers here. So Bayano managed to score again for right back. He actually does get a decent number of goals and assists. 5 assists there in total and 2 goals for the team. So pretty impressive, actually. And who else managed? Allen as well, the backup left winger inside forward, who is 37 years of age, and he's on 6.5k per week. He's actually one of the highest earners in the club, and I realised this because he's actually been at Braga for ages. He's a fan favourite, even though he came from their rivals, or I guess Porto are the ones who gave them to our rivals. But either way, I guess he has a lot of history for the club. So, but either way, I think we're gonna get rid of him probably. It makes more sense. In 2017, his contract runs out. He's only considered a leading player for the second league, so there's really no need to keep him anymore. But the fans will definitely be upset when we do move him on. Against Vigo, again, we managed the draw. I was hoping we could come away with a win. It was kind of a comeback win, but Iago Aspas again putting us to the sword and really troubling us once more. I guess he's managed, as you can see here, and in the first game I think it was as well. So I guess he just has something against us. But either way, Hassan again scoring incredibly well, playing incredibly well rather, for our team. In 6 starts in total, he's managed 2 goals, actually 5 goals, sorry, and 3 assists. That's actually his national team. But yeah, I think he's really competing with Nicola for the striker spot, and Nicola's kind of struggling to keep up as well. And we'll get into that in just a moment. But just to give you an idea of what's been going on in the Europa League, as you can see, we're still first, 8 points. So we're 3 points away from Vigo, 4 points away from dropping out. So we can actually afford to lose the next game. But of course, we don't want to do that. We want to try and end on first spot ahead of Vigo, and really just get hopefully the easier game in the the first knockout round. There's also a new interesting competition to show you, the Portuguese League Cup, which didn't exist for some reason in the beginning of the season. I guess they waited until you do the draw, and so we've been drawn into this team with Belenenses, Moriente, and Rio Ave. So all Premier League teams really. So it'll be interesting to see. I think everyone that qualifies goes straight into a quarterfinal, and it's an interesting Portuguese league, and Benfica are the holders. They're also the most time winners, so it'll be interesting. Maybe we can also kind of break up the big three in this competition at the same time too. So I think we can finally kick off with today's game. I don't think there's anything else to necessarily show you. No, I think that's pretty much it, so I think we can just kick off. So we'll just talk about in just a second who's starting and kind of why they're starting for today's game, today's very crucial match, as we mentioned in the beginning of this episode, and hopefully the performance matches the importance of the match as well. So we are favourites, despite the two teams being very close in the league and in the league table. So if we do win, as it says here, we will go into the Europa League spots. And Bayano as well, our key man, but the Goimera's key man is Jose, or Josio. I'm not really sure how to say that. But anyways, a 24-year-old Portuguese central defender. So again, it's two defenders who are the key men for their teams. And in terms of who is starting for today's game, so they're playing an interesting 4-2-1-3, the kind of more defensive 4-3-3 in comparison to us. And so we'll have to really perform well up front in order to break down this defensive 6 here, really. So yeah, Hassan gets this nod because of his recent performances. Nicolas performed poorly, so he's dropped to the bench. Eduardo's always been our starting, a left winger, so he carries on because he's been in good form. But Cartabia actually comes on for Santos, who's had a poor game in his last game, and hopefully Cartabia can really push Santos to perform better. I've kept him on the bench. I haven't completely dropped him, just in case we need him for later on when we know when we need a winner. Bata comes on for Vuk, who's actually our first choice central ball-winning midfielder. He really only comes on because Vuk is exhausted for today's game. Fonte, straightforward, advanced playmaker, first choice. He's really starting to learn the central midfield role, so that's great for us. He's kind of forgotten the attacking midfield role, which is a bit weird, considering it was natural. I guess the more he learns in central midfield, the less he learns in attacking mid, I suppose. But yeah, Rafael Assis is also our first choice anchor man, so it's kind of a straightforward decision here. And I think our back four is also just straightforward first choice. And Marafona, of course, our goalkeeper. So relatively strong side here. We should be able to do well. And even though we were said to be favourites in the match analysis, over here we don't really get, the team talk that gives us the option to tell them that we're favourites. So I guess it's a little bit different. We'll keep an eye on that. And I'll just tell my players to give the media and the fans the performance that they expect on us because of how well we played. So let's just get the replays on. We can skip this little intro and hopefully we haven't skipped it. There you go. All right, there you go. Goimeras are the ones who will kick off today's intense game. We are away from home, so again that always adds a little bit more toughness. That's maybe why we don't really edge out as favourites possibly. But yeah, first highlight of the game, and Wilson's here on the ball. Can he do anything special here? Is he going to cut in and shoot from long range, or is he going to play 1-on-3? No, instead he dribbles past and almost a decent shot on the bottom corner. And he almost got away with that, but Douglas does well to keep it. And we're going to get another highlight here. Cartabia loses out to Ruben, and Hernani will actually lead the way, the counter-attack for his team. Can we win the ball back? No one really in support. Come on, there's like 3 of you there. As he's holding to his position. Bernardo, is he going to take a long range shot? Yes, he will, and that's inside. What a shot that is. And that's what you get for not closing down your players. Their players, actually. And now we're going to get the chance to see it in replay. Great. So we've had more shots and similar shots on target, but really Bernard should have no right to have this shot. There's our anchor man, there's our ball winning midfielder, and there's our advanced playmaker. The central defenders are where they're supposed to be. This is a midfield issue, and Fonte can't get across in time. And the goalkeeper, kind of poor goalkeeping, but when he hits it in that top corner, you're unlikely to be able to do anything about that. But yeah, Braga, we are kicking off again straight away, and there is an immediate highlight. So can we respond immediately, or is this going to be a completely poor decision? Hassan though Loses out to Miranda and Hernani once more, leading the counter-attack. Can we deal with it correctly this time, or are they going to punish us twice within the same minute? Back to Bernard, the danger man. Can we deal with this? Is he going to take a stupid long-range shot again? Instead, it's Rafael. Back to Bernard. And he's playing it a little bit safe, I suppose. But yeah, here is Braga now. And for some reason, our wingers just let Auriello get behind him. And that's a good ball into the box. And Hernani, I don't know why I said Hernani, punishing us. And it's 2-0 within the span of, I don't know, 2 minutes, I suppose. And our team's just completely falling apart here in defense. And you guys are getting a first row viewing of it. Look at that. Ball in behind has been a troubling issue with my team so far. I'm considering to drop our defensive line. But again, Marafono, maybe you could do a little bit better there, I suppose. Either way, though, we have to deal with the reality that it's Goimares 2 and Braga 0. And suddenly, my team is reeling. I think it's time for us to go into control and try and get something out of this game. Whether it's a draw or a win, first we'll need to score 2 goals. No highlights for us. Football Manager, please. Match engine. Hello? A goal before half-time? Nah, half-time whistle. Time to tell my players off, I guess. And let's see what we can do. Alright, so the key poor performers are actually our front 3, which is the worst thing to see. If one of them are playing badly, okay, but it's actually all 3 of them. Marcelo also having a poor game. Everyone else kind of having a quiet or, you know, decent game, I suppose. But no one really standing out. And that is definitely concerning. But maybe the second half can actually give my players an opportunity to change things around. And hopefully they can. But instead, Goimares have actually really pushed up in terms of their stats. And they're kind of close to us now. And despite all our shots, we haven't had a single highlight go our way. So you know what we're going to do? Take off Hassan, bring on Pedros for Caballera. Fonte is exhausted for some reason, so Thomas Martinez. And hopefully all 3 substitutions can really swing this game in our favour. And let's see if that will happen. It just feels like one of those games where the highlights just keeps going on and on and on. Sorry, the clock keeps going on and on without any highlights. But we are going to get one here. We've been dangerous through set pieces. Santos to Pinto. Nicola, come on, put a good ball into the box. Assis, score it. Yes, and there we are with close to maybe getting something from this game. Our anchorman having to score to salvage something here. We're going to get another highlight of this. Or another view, rather. Nicola does really well here. Assist from our false 9. That's exactly what I want to see. Assist to assist. And Douglas can't do anything about that. Alright then, boys, let's get one more. Let's put some serious pressure on them. Alright. So, Goimares have proven themselves to be dangerous, but it's gotten to the point where I can't, like, not go into overload. I have to go into overload. We'll actually tell our players to push forward as well, and maybe we can nick a point here, which would be priceless. If Goimares beat us, which it looks like it's going to be, and that means they're actually going to climb above us in the table. 30 seconds left. Is Football Manager teasing us, or is something really going to happen? Come on, win that. There you go. Come on, Bayano. Santos. All you have to do is put a good ball into the box instead. Wilson. And the goalkeeper deals with it there. Yes, Football Manager was definitely teasing us. There's only a couple of seconds left. And it looks like this result will actually go Goimares' way. And there you go. We've only lost for the 3rd time this season. And it looks like the draws are actually going to cost us more than our losses. Definitely a disappointing result. But apparently we weren't the favourites, so I can't tell my players off too much. But that does drop us down to 7th. With most of the games being played this weekend, there's only 1 team left. And even if they win, that doesn't change our position in the league. But really, we are starting to drift away from the first spot with Benfica at 25 points. That's 10 points away with only 10 games being played. Of course, this season is shorter than normal seasons with 34 games being played. So we really need to be careful with just 24 games left to go. Still early in the season though, not the end of the world. We can still recover. Question is, will we recover? That is not too pleasing a result at all. Looks like when winter comes around, we may actually have to do some serious investments in the winter transfer window. Problem is we won't really have the money for it, but if we can let me show you exactly what I mean. Once this actually processes, I guess. Okay, there you go. All right, so we've got 5 centre backs now, so we don't need all of them. But Pinto does leave in January for Sporting, and that leaves us with just 1 ball-playing defender when we've got, when we need 2. But we still do have 4 centre backs. So my choice is: do I send Emiliano back to his loan club, Atletico Madrid? We are paying him money, so we could free up those wages and get someone else in who's an actual ball-playing defender. Or we can just keep him on, and that way we can find someone else and improve in other areas. So it's really up to us. It's just something we're gonna have to think about. But yeah, in terms of money, we don't really have much. We're 50k under budget, so if we say we just about edge it our way, 1.6 million pounds is all we've got, and obviously, as you guys now know, there's nothing that you can really buy with that type of money. But hopefully, with our scouts improving, we did start off. Where is it? Okay, so we did start off with world knowledge at like about 15%, or maybe even 20. I'm not 100% sure, but either way, we've increased in terms of our world knowledge. So our scouts are doing a good job. We've gotten a lot of these areas sorted out. We're getting a lot more knowledge on some of these more important nations, I suppose, if you want to call it that. And hopefully if that keeps up, then maybe we might actually find someone where we can bring in from Brazil. South America normally players are really good and really cheap, so maybe we can just about do that. But that's the only thing I see us doing, and it would also depend on where do we improve, where do we buy. The first season, I like to try and keep our players and really see whose ability is true and whose ability is not true, in the sense that our assistant manager sometimes, for the first season at least, he underestimates or overestimates players' abilities. So after the first season, that's when you can really, see who to buy, who to sell. That's the case in most cases, but not always. We also have the issue of that we didn't have enough money to spend as well. So we might have to consider just dipping into the loan market instead. And so we'll have to be, again, careful with who we bring in. But either way, I think that should end our episode. We're just going to quickly show you when we'll be back next. So we've got a couple of cup games there. Hopefully that will, if we can get some form there, then it will carry into our Premier League form, because we're not doing too well. It looks like we'll actually be back for the Sporting games. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So we've got another rivalry to show you. Not so much in terms of history, or even in terms of, I suppose, actually being called rivals. They're not rivals, but they are part of the big 3. Sporting, Benfica and Porto are all the big 3 clubs in Portugal, and if we beat them here, we can maybe start to seriously contend for not just the Europa League spot, but possibly a Champions League spot as well. But yeah, I think that will be all for today's episode. So if you did enjoy it, then please do, of course, hit the like button and subscribe for more daily Football Manager 2017 content. And as always, guys, thank you all for watching.